Yes, hello everyone. I'm Stephen Stern and pleased to be with you today, proud to be a part of Long Island News Radio and excited to bring you Senior Counsel. And I'm Stephen Stern, and to answer everybody's first question, the answer is no. Although we are on the radio today, I am not related to Howard. I am an attorney, a partner in the law firm of Davidow, Siegel, and Stern. Davidow, Siegel, and Stern, we're very proud to say we were established in 1913. It makes us one of Long Island's oldest law firms, and something that we're very, very proud of. And we just finished celebrating our 100th anniversary with our friends, with our neighbors, with the Long Island community. My family and my friends were always so proud of me when I told them I was going to work for an old, established, prestigious law firm. But what they were most proud of was the type of work that we do and that we've done for now over 100 years at Davidow, Siegel, and Stern. Our entire practice is dedicated to the areas of elder law, working with families who have loved ones with special needs, representing our veterans, and estate planning, which of course applies to all of us here in the Long Island community. I'm very proud of what we do and how we do it, how long we've been doing it, and the gratifying work that we do for our neighbors, for our clients, for the Long Island community. And of course, this is a subject matter that applies really to all of us here. Older adults, loved ones who have special needs, our veterans and their families. Of course, all of us here on Long Island are taxpayers, and all of us are concerned with our families today and, of course, for generations to come. And elder law is no longer a relatively new area of the law, but many people still don't necessarily understand what it entails. My clients are seniors and their families, and they have many questions about how they're going to deal with many of life's challenges and transitions that affect all of us. Do I need a will? Should I have the will that I had done 20 years ago updated? Should I be avoiding the probate court process altogether? What happens if I suffer a stroke and I'm not able to make financial decisions for myself? Who's going to have the authority to be able to make important medical decisions if I'm not able to? What happens if I suffer a catastrophic illness and I have a need for long-term care and I'm no longer able to take care of myself at home? Who's going to provide those services? And I think what elder law has become best known for today is what we now call the $150,000 question. And that is, if I get sick, if I need a nursing home, how am I going to be able to afford the over $150,000 a year that it costs now for quality long-term care in our area? How are we going to be able to pay for it? How are you going to be able to pay for it without impoverishing a still healthy spouse living at home? How are you going to be able to pay for it without spending down and losing everything that you and your loved ones have worked so hard for? Those are the issues that we deal with in representing our clients at Davidow, Siegel, and Stern every single day. That is the passion and the experience that 100 years of our law firm have brought. And those are the issues that we take great pride in guiding our senior citizen clients through on a daily basis at Davidow, Siegel, and Stern, Long Island's elder law, special needs, and estate planning firm. If you have questions, you can always get in touch with us at 631-234-3030. That's 631-234-3030. You can also reach us on the web. Our website is www.davidowlaw.com, www.davidowlaw.com. And I'm Stephen Stern, and very proud, again, to be with you here as a part of Long Island News Radio, and very proud and excited to be representing our firm, Davidow, Siegel, and Stern. We have offices on Long Island in Islandia, Garden City, and Mattituck. And we're very proud of the leadership role that we play, not just in our communities, but in this area of law, both on a local, a regional and even national basis at David Dow, Siegel and Stern. And as I said, these are issues that concern all of us here on Long Island. We are older, and if we're not older, then we are concerned about someone who is older or getting older. Many of us have challenges in our daily lives working with our children, our grandchildren who might have special needs. Many people don't realize that New York State has an extremely large veterans population. And here where we're broadcasting from in Suffolk County has the largest veterans population of any county in New York State. It's something that we're very proud of here locally, but as we know, too many of our veterans who are returning from serving our great nation overseas in Iraq and Afghanistan have tremendous challenges and need to know their options. They need to know what type of benefits themselves, their families are eligible for. And one of the great roles that we play at David Dow, Siegel and Stern is working with our veterans and their families to ensure that they have the benefits and access to the programs that they not only need, but I'm sure we would all agree are certainly entitled to. And so what we do on a daily basis at David Dow, Siegel and Stern is we work with our clients. We work with our clients and their families to ensure that these important decisions aren't left to a crisis, that being proactive and taking the necessary steps sooner rather than later to have a plan in place can make it all so much easier. If someone passes away without a will, what will happen? I can tell you that if you don't have a will, New York State is going to give you one. And you might not necessarily agree with the resulting provisions that New York State will require you to make the distribution of your estate. So everybody needs a will. What happens if you get sick and you no longer have the ability to make financial decisions for yourself? If you're unable to make medical decisions, who's going to have the authority to do that? Many of us are concerned with leaving a lasting legacy to benefit our spouses, our family members, maybe charitable organizations that we're very interested in. These are all issues that need to be addressed proactively before crisis strikes, before someone passes away, before someone has a catastrophic illness. Those are the issues, again, that we take great pride in guiding our clients and the families that we work with at David Dow, Siegel and Stern, Long Island's elder law, special needs, and estate planning firm. Questions? Please always feel free to give me a call at 631-234-3030. That's Stephen Stern at 631-234-3030. And you can always get us on the web at www.daviddowlaw.com. Again, that's www.daviddowlaw.com. One of the things that makes this area of the law so gratifying to practice is that oftentimes there are tremendous changes in the law that come on top of those challenges. And although estate planning might seem like it's well settled, although it might seem like everybody knows at this point what government benefits might be available, it is a constantly changing area of the law. So as a practitioner, as a partner in one of the leading elder law and estate planning firms, not just on Long Island, but nationally at David Dow, Siegel and Stern, we take great pride in not just providing solutions, but in being a part of the national conversation and part of the process in helping to shape the law, doing our best to make sure that the law works for the people and the families that we represent. And so whether it is in estate planning, and working with wills and trusts and the court process, or if it's matters of guardianship, where we work very hard to make sure that if someone is incapacitated, we work with our clients to make sure that the appropriate person is appointed and given the authority to do what needs to be done, specifically tailored given the circumstances, whether it's an older adult who might now suffer from dementia, or if it is a young person that was born with some type of cognitive impairment or some type of physical disability or anybody in between. These are the issues that we care so much about, making sure that we do the very best for our clients and for their families in terms of results, but also in our professional lives, whether it's myself or my partners, we take great pride in playing a leadership role, again, not just here locally and regionally, but across the country in helping to shape this area of the law. We take great pride in what we do and how we do it at David Dow, Siegel, and Stern. Again, questions, you can always give me a call. Stephen Stern, 631-234-3030. 631-234-3030 or www.davidowlaw.com. That's www.davidowlaw.com. And we'll be right back.
Hold my hand.
Yes, hello, and we are back here as Senior Counsel. Again, my name is Stephen Stern. I'm a partner in the law firm of David Dow, Siegel, and Stern, Long Island's elder law, special needs, and estate planning firm. Proud to be a part of Long Island News Radio and excited to bring you this program, Senior Counsel. Again, so much of what we are proud of doing at David Dow, Siegel, and Stern is guiding people just like you through the process of making sure that appropriate steps are taken to avoid a crisis situation. How do we do that? Well, as I said, everybody at the very least needs a will. Now, wills are not one-size-fits-all estate planning documents. Wills should be very specific to the person who is drafting it. And I'm asked all the time, what happens if I don't have a will? Do I really need one? Maybe I don't consider myself all that wealthy. Maybe I have a good relationship with my spouse or my children. Do I really need to have a will? And I strongly believe the answer for you is yes. Absolutely yes. Everybody needs to have a will. At the very least, you need to take the steps to decide who you are going to serve as the executor of your estate. How do you want your assets distributed? As I said earlier, if you don't have a will, New York State is going to make sure that you do. They're going to give you one. And the will that New York State gives you might not be the one that necessarily meets your goals or your wishes. So taking the proactive step of having a last will and testament is extremely important for really all of us. I'm asked quite often by younger people, do I need a will? I don't really own all that much. The bank owns most of my house. We're still working very hard to try and put away some savings. But what I say all the time to younger clients is if you have a child, it might not feel like you have all that much in the way of assets, but the most critically important decision that you can make as a parent is who is going to serve as the guardian of your minor child in the event you pass away at a young age. And if you don't take the affirmative step of deciding who is going to serve as the guardian of a minor child, the court is going to do that for you. And that might not be, and I can tell you from personal experience being involved in these kinds of cases on a daily basis, that so often the court is not going to appoint the person that you believe might be able to serve as the best guardian. Yes, geography might have something to do with it. Yes, personal philosophy has an awful lot to do with it. But when it comes down to a court battle and you're not there, there is no guarantee as to how it's going to turn out. The most important thing that you can do, that you need to do as a younger parent with minor children, is take the proactive step of having a last will and testament so that you can decide who a legal guardian would be of a minor child, rather than leaving that decision up to the courts, rather than leaving it up to a battle between family members. Tax issues are constantly changing. Tax laws are constantly changing. What is the interplay between federal taxes and New York taxes? These are the kinds of issues that can devastate an estate. Assets that you've worked so hard for, to accumulate, to leave a legacy, whether it's to a spouse or to your children or your grandchildren or to important charitable organizations that you are passionate about. These are the issues that you need to take a hold of and deal with proactively, because if it's not done during your lifetime, too often it cannot be done after you pass away. And those are the issues that we take great pride in helping families that we represent through at David Dow, Siegel & Stern, Long Island's elder law, special needs, and estate planning firm. Questions, you can always give us a call at 631-234-3030. That's 631-234-3030. On the web, we are at www.daviddowlaw.com. That's www.daviddowlaw.com. Many of us believe that if you get sick and you're not able to communicate your wishes about finances, that's simply because you are married, that your spouse has the legal authority to do that. Of course, at home, Mrs. Stern always believes that she has the authority to make financial decisions over Mr. Stern. But in reality, that's not the case. You would think that if you have adult children, that they would have that authority as well. And in New York, that is not true. In order to have someone legally designated to make any important financial decisions for you, you need to have a power of attorney. Now, power of attorneys come in various shapes and sizes. I always strongly recommend that my clients, the families that I work with, have a durable power of attorney. A durable power of attorney, which is the kind of power of attorney that survives incapacity. And that's really the reason why you would have a power of attorney in the first place, right? If you're able to make your financial decisions, you don't need anybody to do that for you. But if you become incapacitated, that's the time that you might need the help. And if you don't have a valid and well-drafted durable power of attorney, that causes tremendous issues. Many of the clients that I work with have assets like IRAs and 401ks. And although they might already have designated beneficiaries, that does not give those beneficiaries any access or any control over that type of asset. Only a well-drafted, durable power of attorney will work in that kind of a situation. What happens if you don't have a power of attorney, particularly a durable power of attorney? If you don't have one and nobody has the legal authority to make those financial decisions for you, the only way to go, the only other alternative, is to commence a guardianship proceeding in the courts. Thousands of dollars in attorney's fees, several months going through the process just to be given the privilege by a judge to make financial decisions and then have to report back on an annual basis to be checked out as to how you are doing. Very, very limiting, very constricting, and certainly not what any of us would want in the event we become incapacitated. Everybody, regardless of age, regardless of health, should have a durable power of attorney. What happens in the event that you get sick and need some type of care and you're not able to communicate with your doctor? Does a spouse, does a family member have that automatic right? And in New York, the document of choice that we use to accomplish that goal is a health care proxy. Everybody must have a health care proxy. This is the document where you can dictate who is going to be appointed, who's going to have the legal authority to make medical decisions for you if you're not able to, and has to be specifically drafted so that it covers things like artificial nutrition and hydration, the tubes, the food and water that you might need in a very life-threatening type of a situation, whether that's for the short term or, God forbid, even in the long term. So healthcare proxy is the document that everybody needs to have to appoint someone to make these important decisions. And those are the types of documents that we will work with our clients to draft, to execute specifically as appropriate at David Dow, Siegel & Stern, Long Island's elder law, special needs, and estate planning firm. If you have questions regarding power of attorney, you can give me a call at 631-234-3030. That's Stephen Stern at 631-234-3030. or on the web, www.davidowlaw.com. That's www.davidowlaw.com. I'm always asked what the difference is between a healthcare proxy and a living will. A healthcare proxy is a one-page document where you can appoint someone to make any important decisions for you. A living will, on the other hand, is a document like a regular will, where it's you speaking to the world and telling the world what type of treatment you might want or not want given a situation. This is the place where you can talk about how you feel about death and dying, and what kind of treatment you might want in a given situation. A living will is a very important document to have that can give the guidance to family members as to how to make these important decisions in a crisis situation if you're not able to make your wishes known. The difference between the two is the healthcare proxy is the document that gives someone the power, the authority to make medical decisions, and the living will is the document that can give them the guidance. So many of us remember the situation down in Florida that went national a few years ago that became a dialogue for all of us concerned about this type of an issue with the Terri Schiavo case. We all saw the tragedy that case became, that situation became, and literally tore a family apart simply because these types of documents were not in place. Start thinking about these things now and take the necessary steps sooner rather than later. I am happy to assist you and your family in making these kinds of decisions. I'm Stephen Stern, David Dow, Siegel & Stern, Long Island's elder law, special needs and estate planning firm. Again, give me a call at 631-234-3030. 631-234-3030, www.davidowlaw.com. Pleased to bring you senior counsel, and we'll look forward to speaking with you next time.
And let me sing forevermore.